How are you doing today? I'm Zach Collenbaugh, and today we're going to be talking about my trip to South Mineral Campground. I did cram quite a bit into this video, so I am going to timestamp it so you could jump to directly what you're looking for. I'm going to be going over the campsite itself, my camping setup, hiking to the waterfalls, and a small 4x4 trail. All that being said, let's go camping. So when you turn off of the $1 Million Highway, you're going to be on a dirt road. This dirt road is going to have plenty of spots for you to pull over to look around, some fishing spots. They also have a couple different trails, I think some camping spots, but the camping spot we're trying to get to is at the end of the road, so it's going to be extremely hard to miss. We'll just be looking for a sign that looks just like that. Now, the sign right below that goes over the fire ban and all the restrictions they had at the campsite. Now, like this campground, a lot of these are posted when you first come in, but sometimes they're not, so it's always best if you go online, check the county you're in, and see if there's any restrictions in that area. Now, to sum up the ban that we were under, you couldn't have any open flames, so we couldn't have any campfires, which we planned on. We had some firewood that we didn't get to use. You're not allowed to use any open flame cooking, so you're not allowed to have any charcoal grills or anything of the sort. There is some quick solutions to that. You're still allowed to use propane, so you could get a little propane grill and cook all of your food on it. And if you wanted to stay warm, you could also get a propane little buddy heater. They sell those at Walmart. They're like $50 to $100 depending on which one you get. We bought one and it works perfect for the nighttime. Now, what you're currently looking at is just me driving around the campground itself. The campground is first come, first serve, so you could not go online and reserve a spot or anything like that. There's a guy who works there who just drives around and collects the money, make sure you have your tags and paid for everything. I don't believe there's a consistent price. I believe it changes depending on what time of year you go. So that's going to change a little bit. I think we paid about $30 a night, but it was a beautiful area. It was well kept. It had 2 bathrooms. Honestly, when doing a loop around, I didn't see that many bad spots. You either have a really good view of the mountains or you're very close to the water, so both have their pros and cons. Now, unfortunately, this video is not sponsored by Body Armor or Eno, even though I use them a lot when I'm doing my camping setup. Now, when I'm talking about my camping setup, the most important thing for me is my rooftop tent. I have a Silver Wing rooftop tent. It takes 2 to 3 minutes to just pop it up, so I could really pop it up anywhere that I can park level lot. Now, it also only takes probably 4 to 6 minutes, depending on if you have any help, to tear it down. The only downside is, if we were camping and we needed to go get something in town, we have to completely pack up camp. Then of course we have to set it all back up whenever we get back. During the day, the weather was perfect. At nighttime, when the sun went down, it dropped fast, so it did get quite cold. So I recommend bringing a good sleeping bag. What we ended up doing was buying a little buddy heater, like I said, kept us warm. Now, really close by is Silverton, Colorado. It's a small little town, has those different touristy shops to it, some ATV rentals that you could go on some trails nearby, some really good scenery, and quite a few little shops that you can stop and eat. Now, we did go during COVID, so we had to wear masks to go in anywhere, but it was pretty good food for a small town. Coming back to the campground, there is a little waterway, maybe a 1/10 of a mile from where we camped. If you go down there, you are going to see a waterfall that's on Google Maps. It's like Clear Falls, something of that nature. However, the waterfalls that we're looking at today are actually on the other side. Now there's 2 or 3 different ways you can get to these waterfalls. You could actually continue up that 4x4 trail and you'll see a little trail going to the waterfalls. However, I find it a lot funner to follow the water and follow this trail over following the road. I know right now a lot of y'all are debating with yourselves if funner is actually a real word. I googled it and it is. Now that we got that out of the way, there is 2 or 3 different paths even down this trail that you could take. They're all going to lead to the waterfalls, so don't worry about it. You pick whichever one you want to take. We always go to the one that's closest to the water because we like getting those water shots. Once you get to the water, you could look upstream, downstream. It's extremely clear. The rocks look absolutely beautiful. You can hear the waterfalls. You can't quite see them yet, but they're very close. There is going to be a fork in the streams. One of them, if you follow the water, is going to be going around the campsite. So you got to go up the other one. It's going to be the one perpendicular to the stream you're following. If you go up there, you're going to follow it and you're going to find all the waterfalls. Once we got done with the hike, we decided to jump in the truck and go on that little 4x4 trail and see where it led. Now, some of these trails that you go on go for miles and miles and connect you to all the different towns, stuff like that. This one only went for a couple miles. It was maybe an hour, hour and a half drive since we were driving slow. You did see some beautiful landscapes along the way. There was some spots that were quite narrow, and you did have a pretty big cliff straight to the side of you. Unfortunately, we did come up on a truck. He said it was a little bit rough where he was, so I had to end up driving backwards on this mountainside for a little over a mile until we found a spot right here that was wide enough for us both to pass. as you can see directly in front of me, there's quite a bit of smoke. There was a lot of fires in the nearby areas, so whenever you'd see something coming out of the sky, you'd think it would be snow or sleet, something like that, but then you'd take a closer look and it would just be ash. We did see 1 or 2 buildings on the side of the mountain that were clearly used for mining. If you continue down the road, you can see a few different cars down here. A few of those actually camped down here. So if you wanted to and you had a 4-wheel drive car, you could definitely look into that as well. You're still gonna have a beautiful scenery. You're still gonna be close to the water. The main thing is you're gonna be giving up the bathrooms. Now you definitely get more of an overlandish feel if you do camp out in this area. However, don't go off the road if you're setting up camp or anything like that. It really does mess up the ecosystems and can do a lot of damage. So just look for a designated camping spot and keep on the trails. There is quite a few trails you can go to nearby. You can also, like I said, rent those ATVs, and they have designated areas where you can drive all over. It's just, there's some areas that you want to make sure that you're staying on the road so you don't accidentally do any damage to the environment. So if you've made it this far in the video, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions or anything you want answered, thoughts or concerns, please drop those in the comments. I try to reply to everyone that I can. And below, go ahead and tell me what your favorite campground in Colorado is. Thank you again for watching this video till the end, and I will see you in the next video.